All right. Week 24, 6 months. Can't believe I've been with you jokers for 6 months. Uh, and 6 months into it, we just had another offsite in Austin, and you'll notice a few people are missing because we're sick. Some of us are sick. Great offsite though. You get so much. I always say it this way: you get different type of work done when you're in person versus remote. You know, when you know what you need to work on, remote's great because you can go heads down, no distractions. But man, nothing beats being in person and hammering out what needs to be done. So we'll get right into it. I'll go ahead and do mine first. So one of the things that let's see here, let's do this one. See my screen, okay? Cool. All right. One of the things that we've been working on is connections for VPC on premise. You're setting up your own machines. A whole lot of things that Robin and Jeff can talk about one day on the infrastructure side. I don't understand why we can't demo infrastructure, guys. Let's demo YAML files. No YAML
Maybe next week.
files.
It's just the
were harmed
problem
in
is
this one, right?
you demo
Okay.
infrastructure, it should just work. So it's not, it's like, hey, look, you can curl this thing and it works. And you're like, okay, it's not really much of a demo.
It's scaled up.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So in setting up like on-premise type stuff, we need a nice UI around this. Obviously, there's the marketplaces and AWS and stuff that will be in as well, but we do need to manage this. So I did this during the offsite just to demonstrate where we're going. So the idea is you'd be able to provision different machines, and then those machines would be used for agent deployment. So when you run agent duty deploy, it would deploy to the appropriate machine, and then when requests are coming in, right, it would schedule those agents. So real quick, you can click plus provision machine. I'm going to pick on premise for this one. I'm going to call this hello world, and we're going to make this a development lab and an OVA image. And then what you need to do is we'll walk you through creating a private key. Then you got to get the public key, and then of course the CSR. Once you do that, you'll upload that, the public key and the CSR. And then you'll get the configuration. This will probably change a little bit. I think there's use cases where you need things like this. I think a couple of Google examples, but for us, it'll be a one text field. You click on it, and then you'll drop that in to your VMware setup. And then when that's running, we'll use that, register the machine. And then I kind of simulated this, but then the idea is you'd go in the case of VMware, you'd deploy the OVA, right? And then it would start running. It would provision the machines, set up everything. We would get a health check back on our side, and then what would happen is once it's done, it would be here, and you would have an on-premise machine ready to go. And you could do that again. You could do that in Amazon if you wanted to. Put them on all the clouds. So then after that, you can click into it and you can check on a machine, and you'll get things like the projects that are on your machine, the agents that are running. You can get some metrics off of the machine, logs, of course, things like that, some security things on the machine. We're definitely going to need to have permissions around this, so only certain developers can see it and access it, that kind of thing. But that's it for that. And then the next thing we were talking about, this is longer tail, but we're going to eventually need to lock down some of our other things as well. So AI Gateway, our IO, our services, telemetry, users, developers. And the idea here is you could just completely turn off our gateway, or you could turn it on, and then you could select providers and say, we only want this provider. It's our provider with our key. Still goes through our gateway, but it's using those things and only that. You can only use this model. You can't use these other models. So some important security around that, so that developers don't use things that aren't allowed. Same thing goes with IO. You could just say, no, we don't want SMS. We don't want you to give the agent a telephone number, or you can configure permissions that way as well. Same thing with services. We have the key value store and the object store. You could say, yes, I want the object store, but only our custom thing. And you can't configure anything else other than that. So that's that. Telemetry, for example, OTel. We use OTel, so we could ship the OTel off to an on-premise OTel or the customer's OTel as well. And then likewise, users, developers, we can do things by roles. So we could lock down, someone can only create projects they can't deploy via the CLI. They can only view certain things. And then even down to the runtimes, it's pretty common actually to say our organization pins this verified Node.js version and nothing else, no other runtimes. We can do the same thing with frameworks as well. So that's the other concept there. So that's it. Pedro, your turn, sir.
Well, hello. Yeah, let me show you what I've been working on. Window. Oh, entire screen. I don't want to make that mistake again. Okay, cool. So this week, is it showing up? Oh, showed up. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this week I've been focused on the Slack integration, Slack IO actually. So what that means is that you can create a Slack bot and talk to it on Slack, which is pretty cool. So just typical. You go here, you create the Slack. I already created it. It takes a few minutes, so I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. I'm just gonna show you the quick demo. So basically, you go in there, you set it up. It needs your client ID, client secret, and a couple of other things to set up. There's instructions here. Eventually, we'll create a very small video tutorial on how to do this, just because there's some steps that you'll have to do. So once you create your Slack app or bot, you get this page and you have all of these credentials, tokens, and stuff. Some of the things that you are going to have to set up is like the auth and the permissions, where you give it like a redirect URL, where this is going to talk back to Agent2 for authentication. Then you have to like scopes and permissions. So all of this stuff, we're going to go over it in a tutorial video, and I'll just focus on the demo for today. So this is cool. So what I did, I invited my bot to a Slack channel that I have over here. I've been testing, you can see it here. But you basically mention it and you tell it something, right? And then the agent kicks in. I'll show you the source code. It's not a secret. So basically, this is the way that you're gonna work with it, right? So you do request data Slack, and here it has all the stuff that you are going to need, like the text in this case, but there's more stuff there. And then we have a send reply, okay? The send reply, this is a method that sends a reply back to Slack. Obviously, by default, the in thread is set to true, so it's always gonna reply to the same thread that I created. But you can override it by setting it to false, or you can just simplify it by just doing this. Same thing. Okay. So this is the code. Very simple. Now here you can do whatever you want. So let's say, who is Rick? This is a live demo, so let's hope that it works.
Oh man, I cannot wait to build some internal apps.
Unlimited content.
Oh, look at that. So just this one is a little joking app. If you're bored, you can just tell it to give you a joke. But it could be your personal assistant. It could be your CRM assistant. It could be anything like that, right? Because you have your own data, which is pretty cool. So that's my demo for today. And let me see.
So awesome.
Where is my Google Meets? All right, here it is. Cool. Awesome. Next up, Nick.
Thanks, Pedro. That's pretty cool. So this week, I just turned my camera off. I meant to share. So yeah, this week, Joel, Dylan, and I worked on getting our CRM agent live. So they're not here today, but we got everything up and running. So now we're taking live data from Clerk, Smart Lead, and Stripe, and it's being tracked and being put in ADIO, and we're getting notifications when emails come in. But something I'm working on now is improving our email reply. So Smart Lead sends out a bunch of emails. We get some replies. And so now we're adding functionality to reply to simpler emails with calendar links or whatever is applicable. So I'll show you here. We have, this prompt, and we construct an email or we forward it to the relevant person. So now if someone says like, oh, I'd like to meet sometime this week, it'll reply, oh, you can book a slot on my calendar here. If they ask a more complicated question, we'll forward it and notify them on Slack that they have an email to respond to. So and then another thing that we've added is if someone is going back, if there's a back and forth email interaction, we're pinging in Slack. So this will improve like notification of emails. It's all in one place. And then you'll be able to respond to the email. It'll take you right to Smart Lead. And that'll simplify that. So we also worked on open sourcing the project. So this is somewhat opinionated towards the services we use, Smart Lead, Clerk, and Stripe, but it'll be pretty simple if you use Salesforce or something, to replace the tools, because we're using Composio for our tools. So even in here, I had to make some custom tools, but we're using Composio. So a lot of this flow could be pretty quickly changed to Salesforce or something. Like, so here we're using like the ADIO tools, and this is just built into Composio, and so you could just swap these out with Salesforce or whatever, and get it to work for you pretty quickly. So I think that's all I have. And so I'll pass it to Jeff to close this out.
All right, that's awesome. Well, good week, short week. I know a lot of us were tired and sick and traveling, but really exciting, great progress this week. And we will see you hopefully next week, everyone. All right, have a great week. See you guys. Bye.